no need for the finger pointing. Right. Let's get it done.
A heated exchange as Durham County and city leaders try to resolve a difficult topic. The story picks up here at 3628 Keystone Place. Police say 19-year-old Corey Jiggets murdered his girlfriend, all while a 10-month-old was in the home.
Mr. Jiggets, you are charged with a Class A felony under North Carolina law.
But days later, the murder and arrest brought on questions about how Durham's leaders have handled these more than 50,000 unserved warrants. The warrants seen here in this room in the county jail date back to the 1980s, and with them are criticisms for the county and city that made Durham City Manager Patrick Baker walk away.
The two gentlemen that are in here before me today have had these dialogues, and they have tried to move forward as best that I know of.
But Judge Elaine Bushfan says despite past efforts to solve the problem, it still hasn't gone away. Her solution?
At this point, I'm convinced that once you have a designated force that's large enough, you will be able to accomplish that.
They're difficult to ignore. 50,000 pieces of paper, each representing a crime committed in Durham, some from the 1980s. But today, there are words of hope.
We've gone through about 20 to 25.
At a crime cabinet meeting, we learned that 25 of these boxes are now cleared, with the help of interns at the district attorney's office.
Most of them are these simple worthless checks. That's a Class 3 misdemeanor. It's the lowest crime that we have outside of a traffic infraction.
The DA says he's working to dismiss those low-level misdemeanors if they're more than 5 years old. He says the task of clearing these documents opens the door to a bigger picture because where there are unserved warrants, there are other court documents just waiting to be served.
Let's focus our attention on something that is more worthwhile and more important, which might be the people who were in court and never came back to court, or the subpoenas for the cases that are in court, and we need these witnesses to come to court to be able to prosecute them.
City and county officials in Durham have set aside a total $500,000 to employ a new staff and start a 24-hour warrant control office. They expect to hire new clerks by December. Reporting in Durham, Paul Matadine, NBC 17 News.
New technology is on the way that could get criminals off the streets.
It's called NC Aware, or North Carolina Warrant Repository System, and it's designed to help law enforcement keep track of warrants. Here are the fast facts. The system was pitched back in 1995 when a study determined North Carolina needed a criminal justice information network. Lawmakers approved it in 2002. Since then, programmers have spent years setting up a way to track warrants and court orders. Our Paul Matadine gives us a glimpse of the system just weeks before it's going to be put to work. It's a story you'll see only on NBC 17.
When you look at these 50,000 unserved warrants in Durham alone, it's clear why some leaders say state response has been slow.
This has been talked about for, I think, over a decade. Are we going to get a usable product?
But despite delays, the state administration of courts has been working on a high-tech solution.
The responses come back showing all the different individuals.
NC Aware is an internet-based statewide search, a little more complex than Google.
I think the key things we did show.
And it gives law enforcement the ability to search for warrants, not only from the courts, but from the DMV and the SBI.
It retrieves the data that's already been keyed in on the individual along with any of their unique identifiers.
It actually allows all of our jurisdictions statewide to tie into the same system.
The program allows warrants to be served electronically and not just on paper.
It's really going to help us in tracking records and serving them.
We're hoping that it will allow us to clear up a backlog of warrants and bring more people to justice.
Officials say it'll take about 2 to 3 months for the pilot program to complete. After that, it'll take about a year for NC Aware to roll out statewide. Reporting in Raleigh, Paul Matadine, NBC 17 News.
Our Paul Matadine was there as the pilot program launched.
This is NC Aware.
If I run across a person, I can run his name, check for any warrants outstanding.
It's a computer-based way of storing and accessing arrest warrants so that law enforcement officers can get online and search for outstanding arrest warrants whenever and wherever they want. It's also a possible solution to the nearly 50,000 unserved arrest warrants just sitting in Durham County alone.
With this system, the entire state of North Carolina will have access at our fingertips.
There's going to be no more wonder if the warrants on Johnny were ever served. You're going to know, the law enforcement officers are going to know, and even Johnny's going to know.
The pilot program will be expanded to Harnett and Lee counties. It should take a total of 3 months. A statewide rollout is expected by 2010.
This is the first time that we've had a system that involves both law enforcement and courts together in one unified system.
Now, there are still some obstacles ahead for NC Aware. For example, not every county has a uniform way of keeping arrest records. That's one challenge. And if you're wondering, officials say they'll double-check NC Aware warrants with the traditional paper trail for the duration of the test. In the newsroom, Paul Matadine, NBC 17 News.